former Bush administration official and retired U.S. Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson went on Ed Schultz show on MSNBC and went after all of this Benghazi fake outrage.
You can't ever get it. Find that to be a great problem. And I do find it to be an enormous problem in my political party, the Republicans. I'm still a Republican. I find it an enormous problem that they go after something like this, Benghazi, tragedy that it was, and they don't go after something that is a colossal tragedy like the war crimes of Richard Bruce Cheney.
Okay. What do you think should be done if the Democrats ever got total power in the House and Senate? Should they go down that road, or is that just a day too gone too far?
I think this has been I think this has been looked at. I think the decision by President Obama not to look back was lamentable. I can understand why, in terms of political reasons, he did it. But I think we're going to regret the fact that we actually condone torture in the world. We set human rights and international criminal justice back an eon. We were supposed to be the leaders. Now we're the laughingstock of the world. This has significant repercussions for the United States, and George Bush and Dick Cheney are largely responsible for it. And the fact that I was a member of that administration will haunt me to the grave.
Damn, man. Now, there's a guy who's principled. There's a guy who said, look, man, putting aside the fact that I'm a Republican and whatever my political beliefs are, here's the reality. Torture is not a debatable issue. Okay? Torture is not open to discussion. It's illegal under international law, the Geneva Conventions, the Nuremberg Tribunals, under the U.S. Constitution, and I don't give a shit that it was my team that did it. They are still wrong, and the fact that I was in the administration is going to haunt me to my grave. A lot of credit there to U.S. Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson. I mean, what a great and spot-on thing to say. But to the bigger point, look, the idea that you can continue to politicize something like Benghazi simply to try to get your base out for the next election, which is exactly what they're doing, it shows how gross the right wing has become. And, I mean, you want to compare apples to apples? Okay, let's do that. How about the fact that there were 13 U.S. consulates under Bush that were attacked? So there were 13 Benghazis under George W. Bush. But Kyle, wait a second. That doesn't mean that anybody died, and the problem is that 4 Americans died. Really, that's interesting. 70 fatalities occurred under George W. Bush, including over a dozen Americans. Now, did the Democrats call all these special hearings and say, oh, what a terrible thing, we need to impeach somebody, everybody's got to, let's talk about this for the next 3.5 years. No, you know what the Democrats did? They said, wow, that's a terrible thing, but I'm going to be patriotic and not use this for a stupid partisan attack to try to gain cheap points because I don't have any ideas. See, that's the thing about the Republicans. When you don't have any actual ideas, any substantive policy ideas where you can say, oh, okay, so your position is Medicare for all, or your position is Obamacare. Well, our position for healthcare reform is... In other words, they don't have one. So what do you have to do? Benghazi! Oh, you guys want to raise the minimum wage and help out the average worker and make them, in turn shrink government programs like food stamps and unemployment insurance and welfare because, now people don't have to go get food stamps if they get a raise, and instead of making $7.25, they make $10.10. Oh, our counter-argument is Benghazi! See, when you don't have any actual ideas, you have to do cheap partisan political attacks like this, and that doesn't even, I haven't even mentioned the fact that their main argument is, they didn't have proper security, this is unbelievable and terrible. Yeah, but wait a second. Who would be responsible to pass the funding to have better security? Oh, that's right. Congress would be responsible for that. Congress, which is majority Republican, and you guys did not pass that. So what do you point fingers at the administration for? Point fingers at yourself. Every single argument that they try to use can just be totally ripped to shreds. I mean, you want to talk about a failure of security? Again, how about the fact that there was a memo on George W. Bush's desk a month before 9/11 that said Bin Laden determined to attack inside U.S. Did you know that Bill Clinton had regular meetings on al-Qaeda and specifically Osama bin Laden? And George W. Bush, when he took office, he had 0 meetings on that. And then what happened? Wow, there was an attack inside the U.S. But again, did Democrats point the finger and say, oh, vote for us because they're terrible at what they're doing and blah, 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 blah. No, the Democrats were mind-numbingly apolitical about what happened on September 11th. They were like, well, we're all on the same team here, and we all want to go after al-Qaeda, and we need to be patriotic, and blah, 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 blah. But the Republicans, they have no problem playing gutter politics. And it shows you how terrible they are, how out of ideas they are, and how they're willing to overlook things that are much worse. You know, things that we're actually responsible for, like the United States implementing torture again, right? They disregard stuff like that, and instead they focus on something which was a horrible accident, and, you know, they insinuate that the president and the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton were cool with it going down. Like they were sitting, twisting their evil mustaches behind closed doors, going, "Mwahaha, finally we attacked the base in Benghazi. Mwahaha."